Ashton Kutcher, you've just been punked.
Yeah. Alright, so this was our first experience in the new design of Regal Crossroads Stadium.
Yes.
They got recliner seats now.
Yep, and we just got out of seeing the new Danny Boyle film, and what is it? Steve Jobs. Yes. Yeah. The little unknown film.
Yeah. And not Steve Jobs' Man in the Machine, the documentary. It was really confusing. I didn't even know that there were two Steve Jobs movies out at the same time.
Oh, there was a documentary as well?
Yeah.
Two? Oh, that's interesting. But yes.
You know, even though Fassbender's performance is superior to Ashton Kutcher's in the 2013 Jobs, Ashton Kutcher, I think, is actually a better casting choice. He bears more resemblance to Steve Jobs.
I guess I thought Mike Fassbender did a good job for the most part, anyways.
Well, yeah, he had a great performance. Yeah, Ashton Kutcher was good too, but the 2013 Jobs was mostly like a Hallmark movie, other than Kutcher's performance.
Yeah,
this
it was very like, it was also very much, paint by the numbers biopic film where they would show like the beginning, like middle, end of someone's life. This one was very much more just like different. Like this is just, we're just gonna show you 3 points from his life, three moments of time from his life, and I felt this one was definitely much better than the last one, especially, and also
and it is better dramatized too.
And it just, I'm glad that the last one didn't end like this either, where they didn't end it with the title scroll telling you because a lot of movies based on true stories do that, but not many. There's been a few that haven't, like this one. Jobs did too, but I forgot there was another one we saw recently that didn't. Another true story I saw they didn't do that either. Yeah. But
although the 2013 version did have like a dedication to Steve Jobs, because he died shortly before that movie was made. This one really doesn't acknowledge his death at all. But,
which I'm kind of glad. I don't like. It can get kind of annoying.
Which I guess that the 2013 Jobs isn't really. It doesn't really show a lot of his dark side like this movie does.
Yeah.
And so
the last one also didn't. There were a lot of things it didn't show. Like, it didn't show his kid very much. Like, it was just sort of. He would just sort of get letters like, "Why aren't you like? Oh, she's not my." He just sort of like, "She's not my daughter," and then they kind of wouldn't ignore it. Also, there was things like they didn't really explain very well why Wozniak left. Like in the movie, it was just, "I don't feel you're living up to your potential. I'm leaving." Like, it's just like, what? Like, because it felt like there was no scenes of them like angry at each other. Like, was the movie trying to soften it for something like the last movie? This one actually showed like, wow, they really were kind of at each other's throats. That showed like a real reason. Because like, I was kind of weird. Like when I was watching the first Job film, it was like in the part where Josh Gad played Wozniak in that version.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like Josh Gad was like, he left, but it was like, why? Like, there was never any moment where they were fighting or anything. They seemed to be getting along fine. Like, why did he? It was just. I mean, the last one had some good actors too. Besides Kutcher, it had I forgot the guy who played Jeff Daniels' character. He was an actor I really liked. And there was one of the guys who helped him out on the Macintosh Project was another actor I've seen in a bunch of stuff who I really liked. But this one had like way more recognizable people like Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen was Wozniak this time, and there was
although for the first 2/3 of the movie, Kate Winslet isn't very recognizable at all.
I could tell it was her.
Yeah, I didn't at first, but yeah. I mean, Fassbender, Winslet, and Rogen, I think are all going to be nominated for Oscars.
Yeah, there's even some. They even hired some nice small actors who I've seen in like other movies. Like Sarah Snook was the lady.
Oh, and
this is one actress I like. But
5-year-old Lisa is played by Mackenzie Moss, who was the annoying girl in Do You Believe?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was her first performance. And
did she do better in this one?
Honestly, after seeing her in this one, I'm kind of more forgiving of her in Do You Believe, because maybe she really does speak with saying R's as W's, computo, or computo, yeah, okay.
I don't know, I didn't see.
I kind of thought with Do You Believe she was kind of instructed to speak that way just to be really cutesy, but maybe that is really how she speaks.
I don't know, I didn't hear it in this one. I don't know, I didn't see Do You Believe, but
yeah.
But I thought this was definitely a much better pace from the last one. It felt like an actual movie, and it had a good director, and it even had a good writer. I like Aaron
Aaron
Sorkin's.
Sorkin is, yeah.
It depends on his so not I know not everyone likes Aaron Sorkin's work. I know I've known some people who personally don't like most of the stuff he's done, but I'm glad Jeff Daniels is in this because Jeff Daniels was in Aaron Sorkin's TV show The Newsroom. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was gonna say, this kind of felt like, it kind of felt more like a stage play, to be honest. That is other than the scenes where, that it ha- excuse me, other than the way that a lot of scenes are edited, like how it'll go back and forth between conversations now and that in the past, kind of like Social Network.
Yeah, well, I think it was supposed to be like that, sort of, because the whole thing was
Yeah.
always like him near a stage that he was going to present a new item, which,
Yeah.
and I just love that scene. They made fun of what was it called, the Newton? That's great, because it showed that scene from The Simpsons I love, and I just
Oh, yeah.
I want to tell my brother to just, because he might see it just for that reason, because he loves The Simpsons, so I'm just like, you have to at least see, because he doesn't want to see this so much.
What a shock! Aaron Sorkin actually wrote Social Network too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, they actually wanted David Fincher to direct it, but
I don't know,
apparently David Fincher wanted too much money.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird. But I don't know. I think
So-
Danny Boyle's still a good choice. I mean, he didn't like Danny Boyle's very well known for doing this thing where a movie will seem one way at the beginning, but then near the end it'll turn into like a completely different movie. Like his last movie, Trance, did that, and like the only movie I remember that I saw that did that was like 28. Because I've only seen like a couple of his films, but I saw like 28 Days Later. That very much like started out as a typical zombie film, but then ended as kind of like a psychopath kind of film.
He directed 28 Days Later?
Yeah, he also did like Sunshine and a bunch of other
and also
stuff.
the ones that I've seen, Slumdog Millionaire and 127 Hours.
And but the last one I saw his last film though, Trance. Trance was like his last one with James McAvoy. It was kind of weird, but he's still I think he's a very good director. I thought he did a good job, and I don't know. I didn't have too many problems with this film. I had little things maybe, but and I don't feel they need to show the death. Like I don't think it needs to be all, because he dies, so it's like most people who know Steve Jobs know he's dead. There's not gonna. It's like Lincoln. I didn't like in Lincoln that at the end they're like, let's show him die. Let's show that he dies. I mean, everyone knows Lincoln. Everyone who knows who Abraham Lincoln is, he died. No, he dies. You don't have to show it or talk about it or whatever.
Yeah, his death kind of seemed irrelevant to the movie too, because it's really more a movie about the 13th Amendment than it is a biopic of Lincoln.
Yeah, like this. Yeah, this is, and because I like that this isn't like a typical like biopic. It isn't. They're trying to do at least do something different with it. They're not just trying to make like a by the numbers. Here's where he is when he's a baby. Here's where he is when he's an adult. Because they still explain things about what he does before. It's just the thing I was kind of bummer is I kind of would have liked to see some of like the creation of some things, and maybe him introducing the iPod, though they did kind of do a thing. It's like, I'm gonna put a million things in your pocket, million songs in your pocket.
Aaron Sorkin also wrote American President. I really like that movie.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of good like movies, and he's done TV shows like The West Wing and The Newsroom and other things. He's a good writer. Well, depending on who you are, I don't think everyone likes everything he's done, but. Because like I said, I've known some people who don't, but I thought he did a pretty good job, and the script was one of the better things. I like this movie also kind of the thing like Bridge of Spies, where for the most part I wasn't bored through the entire movie. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm just saying there was never any moment where it was there might have been parts where I was a little like, but for the most part, this movie kind of moves fast too. Like it's always moving. There's never a point where there's some parts where they stop, or sort of, but it's never like too long. For the most part, they're mostly walking through this movie. And there's only a few parts where they're standing or something, but for the most part, everyone's walking. And even the parts where they're sitting is still kind of fast. So I like that. I thought that was kind of interesting for a film like this.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
I do think there were too many instances where someone has to be eavesdropping on a conversation. I don't know if it really did happen that often. I mean, it is in one building, so I don't know. It seemed like there were too many of those.
I didn't notice those then again, I don't really notice. Like when someone will go, "There's too much of this," I won't really notice it until afterwards. Like in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., there's a lot of scenes where they have to explain. Like something will happen. It's like, this is why this didn't work because I have to explain everything to you. Like I didn't notice that until afterwards. I'm like, yeah, they did do that a lot. That's kind of annoying. But I never felt that way about this one.
Yeah. So this is the kind of film where I don't particularly like it, but I do praise it a lot for its technical achievements and its craft. So
But even though, like I said, that this is like I was never bored. For the most part, I still don't like this as much as Bridge of Spies. But
yeah,
like,
which by the way I do actually I would say Bridge of Spies is a B plus rather than a B. And I think there's just enough for me to give Steve Jobs a B as well.
all right. Okay. Since I guess we got to the grading really fast.
Well, I don't know if you've got more to say.
Not really too much. I guess maybe like I liked the performances and I liked that they had some stuff. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I think I'm gonna give this an A minus probably.
All right.
But let's talk about. There's actually one new trailer we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
The Danish Girl.
Yeah, the Danish Girl.
I'm interested in that, though. I think the first trailer for it's much better. Like this one's kind of just like, what the heck just happened there? It was like a TV spot. It was so fast. Like the first trailer explains a bit more about the guy. Like it's not just about like like because it sounds kind of interesting though. My brother has a problem with it because they actually didn't get an actual like trans person for it, but I'm okay with that for the most part. I think an actor can be able to do anything or whatever. So like I'm fine with it. It looks interesting, and I like the actors. I like Eddie Redmayne and what's her name. And I do want to see a good back form for Toby Hooper because I was not I didn't hate
Tom Hooper.
Tom Hooper, yeah, sorry, I'm getting mixed up with directors' names. Tom Hooper, because I didn't hate Les Miserables, but I didn't love it. I was like on more like the nostalgia critic. How he talked about how there's like three either okay. I was just on the okay. With it, I was just and But hopefully this one will be a much better because I love the King's Speech. So hopefully this one will be much better true to form for Tom Hooper because I'm interested. I definitely, though I don't know if you're. What do you think of it or?
Nah, not really. I mean, you kind of know how I am with the sort of subject, so.
Yeah.
So it looks like the film is about the first man who was injected with estrogen, is it?
Well, it was the first like ever sex change operation, but yeah, it was like, but there's a lot more to it. Like they didn't show how it wasn't like like he's like I want one day one day she decided something whatever because sorry I'm trying to be accurate to the trans thing, but I'm not my brother knows more about this stuff than I do, but basically like she was married to this one lady and then like she draws a painting of her because you're supposed to technically just say her because or something but so she like the wife doesn't like paints her husband as a man and her husband decides well I kind of like and then she makes her dress up as like a woman and then she decides I think I like being a woman so then she decides to get a sex change later or something but it's not it looks I'm kind of interested only because I like the director and some other people it does look in it I am kind of interested in like how it I guess the whole thing but I'm not at the same time I don't know much about it so
So if it's just about if the whole deal, I was starting to think maybe it would be an interesting character study, but the way you just described it, he was just dressed as a girl one day and just decided, hey, I kind of like being a girl. Doesn't sound all that interesting at all, though.
Well, like it's because like his wife painted him as like a woman or something like that, and then he decided. And then he had to go around. Like it's different. If you watch the first trailer, it explains more than I can. I'm not very good at this stuff.
No.
But it looks better than there's another one that's coming out called about a transgender person called about Ray.
About Ray, yeah.
Which I don't know about that one either, but that one doesn't look very good, and so my brother also agrees that it doesn't look great either. Though it has good actors in it, though.
Okay, well,
we already talked about. There was a new Joy trailer.
Yeah, there was a new Joy trailer.
They definitely show a bit more of the story this time.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a weird, like, company gangster film. Like, because she kind of is, like, she's a crime, and then it kind of looks like she's going to be committing some crimes.
Yeah.
So, that, because I was afraid that, like, from the trailer, it looked like she was going to go insane or something like that. Like, that's what I was expecting. Like, oh, okay, it's different. Like, she's not just going to go. It's like, because I knew it had something to do with, like, she created something called the Miracle Mop or something, but that I definitely want to see Joy.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get on to Gem and the Holograms then.
Yeah.
We'll find out if Gem is truly outrageous or just an outrage.
From what I've heard, it is an outrage, but I'll have to see for myself.
All right.